If you're watching this film at all, the chances are that you're a generally very fortunate person. You're probably healthy, you're probably free, you probably have at least some, if not all, of your human rights respected. You're probably watching this in the comfort of your own home, etc. Those are all things to be extremely grateful for in this very difficult world in which we are living today. I think it's important to make the point that as lucky as we are, we need to spare a thought for those who do not share our level of good fortune. And in particular, all we want to do now is ask you to spare a thought for every single person who's living in a dictatorial regime. Every country in the world where people are not freely allowed to express themselves, to vote on the governments that they would like to have in power, but countries run almost exclusively by male dictators. There are very few, if any, female dictators in the world. Spare a thought for those people. What can you do to help them somehow? What forces can you put into play that will help end dictatorships, confront them, and end up with a much stronger democratic system in place than there is today? So beyond that, spare a thought for the quite literally millions of people right this moment who are ill and in hospitals across the world today. Millions of people living moment by moment lives of intense suffering right now, trying to get better, many of whom will not. Some living their last breaths. Spare a thought for them and remember the doctors and the nurses that look after them, and what doctors and nurses do to try to heal people, try to end suffering. Doctors who have taken the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. Let us all take our own versions of the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm to the environment, to do no harm to our planet, to do no harm to other people. Let us draw on the sides of us that are kind and loving and compassionate more than the hatred and the brutality and the violence that is all too common in the world today. Let's spare a thought for everybody else who's in an institution of any sort, whether it's prisons or mental hospitals or whatever the institution may be where people are confined involuntarily. Of course, some prisoners should very justifiably be there, but nonetheless, they remain fellow humans. There are 10, 20, 30, maybe more millions of people across the world who have no nationality whatsoever. No country will protect them. No government feels responsibility towards them. They are left stateless and very often without hope. They so often fall through the cracks that we never even think of them. But spare a thought today. And if there's anything you can do to help stateless people, people in institutions, people in hospitals, people in dictatorships, try to do it. And hopefully, if we all do our part, we'll end up with a better world that we all deserve.